Welcome. I'd like to introduce my guest, Dr. Ina Nozek. She has studied human nutrition at the University of Bridgeport, nutrition at Montclair State College, and chiropractic at the Sherman College of Chiropractic. Ina continues her journey as a health professional with a deep passion for helping others live a happy, healthy, and abundant life. So of course there's a story here, and to begin with, I'd like to welcome Ina. Hi, Ina.
Hi, Basia.
Really glad that you could join me today.
Thank
and
you.
you know, there's always a story for this YouTube channel, because that's I think that's the inspiring thing, is that we all have our lives and we have a plan and this kind of thing, and then life happens. So we're going to get to your part of your story in just a minute. But firstly, I'd like to go back to how it is that you and I actually met. So you and I are partnered in the same nutritional company. And when I first decided to do the business, I was someone that was grieving. I had found this nutritional system that helped me raise my baseline of wellness. I come from a psychology background, so it really helped me and caught my attention. Never thought I would do something like this as a business. And I didn't, you know, I knew what I knew about nutrition, but I didn't study nutrition either. So what I found was that this company, and this is back in 2016, this company provided us people like me that were doing the business, a nutrition coach, to have access to you, a nutritionist, and ask questions that were either related to our own journey or those that we were helping. And I looked forward to your calls every Monday morning. I believe they were Monday. And I'd be there early. So as soon as the hour hit, I'd be there so I could get through to you. And oh my gosh, your responses were always obviously very professional and compassionate. You had such a way of listening, and you just helped. I know you helped me, and I know you helped a lot of people.
Well, I think it's, thank you for that, Basia. And that was something that I was very, very passionate about doing. And it's so cool that that was how you and I connected, and here we are. So I love it.
Yeah, I do as well. And I think that it just solidified for me that, because I didn't know what I was going to do. My life had been turned upside down. So, you know, that having access and having this be real, in not only the science of the nutrition, but in the support and the community and all of that, I just felt like, well, okay, I'll see, because I like to help people too. And I knew what it did for me. So, but you were instrumental in that assurance to me that, this is the real deal. This is the real deal. So I appreciate that. But then let's fast forward. So that was like 2016 is when I first started, hearing you, etc. And then, life happens, and it happens to us, when we least expect it. We're going along our trajectory. And this is where I want to invite you to share, like, what happened, in your life, nutritionist, taking care of yourself, all of that. What happened back in November of 2019?
Yeah. So, and thank you, Basia, for inviting me to be a guest on your podcast. I appreciate that. So as you said, I've been a health professional, a holistic health professional for many, many years. So it's been well over 30 years at this point. And, my husband and I owned a holistic health center. We've been married for many, many years, and we have 3 adult children now, but we've, gone through our journey of supporting people on their health journey and really trying always to do my best to be an ambassador, a role model. It's like, if you've ever gone to a medical doctor and he's a smoker or he's very overweight, it's hard to look up to and be advised by somebody that's doing things that are blatantly against what we stand for. And so I always really took pride in doing the best that I could for myself, always making health a big priority. And I became a health professional because I'm extremely passionate about helping people on their health journey. And as we know, there's so many people who really need that guidance. So I'm going along, doing the best I can. And November, we were leaving for a trip the next morning. And so just to back up a little bit, my mom passed away. Actually, yesterday was 1 year that she died. 1 year ago, yesterday.
Wow.
And I absolutely feel that she guided me this particular evening in November. We were leaving for a trip. My husband and I were taking our youngest son, he's 20, and his girlfriend on a trip to Mexico. And we were leaving at the crack of dawn to catch a flight. And I was packing, it was late. I was like trying to get everything together. And I remember vividly, I was in the closet trying to figure out, what am I going to bring? And something made me, and I believe it was my mom, take my hand and press under my armpit. And I'm not one of those self-checkers. A lot of women, we're supposed to do our, self-exams and all that. And this never been my thing. I think it's a good idea. It's just something that I never did. So I pressed under my arm, and I feel this was like a lemon.
Wow.
It felt like a lemon. I was like,
wow.
Whoa. And I knew that it didn't feel good. I knew that there was something wrong, but I didn't know what. And there was nothing I could do in the moment because we were leaving in a few hours to go on this trip. So I called my husband in, and we both agreed in that moment, you know what, there's nothing we can do. Let's go away. We'll have a great time, and we'll worry about it when we get back. Because if you can't do anything about it, why worry? I'm not going to cancel my trip. Maybe it's nothing. I didn't know. So long story short, we came back from the trip. On a Saturday, I went in to see a doctor that I knew that Monday, and she wanted to get a CT scan. And then from that, I had a biopsy. And I don't know how many days later, but I was diagnosed with lymphoma.
Whew.
And as a holistic health professional and life going really well, everyone has their stuff, right? Especially, being a parent and the trials and tribulations of our children, and, just life happens. But life was going along pretty darn well, other than, of course, my mom passing, but she was going to be 82. I was grateful that I had her all those years. We had a beautiful death for her. So I had no regrets. It was all so nice. But then all of a sudden, this was like the shocker, and it's not that I never thought it can happen to me, because I always knew, and I've always said that none of us are exempt really from anything, so it's still important to take good care of ourselves and eat organic food and put the right nutritional products in our body and and all that, and have positive mindset and all that. But nobody's exempt. There's no guarantee. So I wasn't ignorant to the fact that, but when you get the call, it's mind blowing. So initially it was for a few days, it was very dark. It was as if somebody pulled the rug out from under me. It was as if, it was initially doom and gloom. And it's just one of those things. And I know, Basia, you've experienced, like life changes, and it's just never the same, right? And
but that edge is really interesting too. It's not interesting at the time that it happens, that's for sure. That edge of really looking at life, like what is life about when you're facing, oh my gosh, this could be terminal. This could be, what's happening. So it really is an internal journey of, pulling your strengths and pulling on things that help you. What did help you at that time? So you hit a place where it was really dark. And then what did you tell yourself, or how did you get through that?
It's a really good question, Basia, and I feel like it's almost unfair for me to say this for people out there that have a much darker prognosis, a more dim situation. So I was guided, and again, I feel like my mom was guiding me. I found the right oncologist who was connected to the world, one of the most world-renowned lymphoma specialists. And it turns out I have non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and a very, very non-aggressive type, because there's many, many types of lymphomas. I didn't really know, even as a health professional, that wasn't my area of expertise, of course. So apparently lymphoma is extremely, I don't want to say popular, but you know what I mean? It's a common type of cancer, and there's many different types. So I got very, very lucky with a non-aggressive form, and the lymphoma specialist that I went to was very reassuring that this is treatable, I'm going to be okay. Now, even before that, I had shifted into positive mindset. So here's my interpretation, because my mother was unbelievable. So her cancer journey was, for her, what I saw was mind-blowing, like what cancer can do to a body, and how I saw her go in 1 year from, looking like this healthy, vibrant 80 whatever year old to, it's just, I don't wish that, like, nobody should ever have to see your loved one go through that or experience it. I mean, it's horrible. But throughout her whole journey, I was blown away by her positivity, she always, the people that would come to visit her, whether it was the healthcare people, she was the one cheering people up. She was the one, counseling them, and always seeing the bright side. And that was my mom. And I never realized it as much until she was in this illness. And I remember thinking, oh my God, like, how can she be so strong and positive?
Wow.
And it sounds so weird, Basia, but I almost feel like when she died, she transferred that into me. Not that I've been negative, because I've really worked on my mindset for a long time, and I'm all about personal development and the whole journey of, that becoming the best version of ourselves. And so much of that is that personal development journey, and trusting and letting go, and all of that. But I was never like my mom.
Wow.
I admired her for it, but that wasn't really me. And I almost feel like she gave that gift to me. Is that weird? But that's how I feel.
Actually, this is what's so wild about this edge of, like, really considering life and death, and having someone, or several people in my case, on the other side, including my son and my stepson and my mom, and that it's almost like the gift of love, really. It's like, this is going to get you through. This is going to help you, and that positivity is certainly it's a strong connection. So you'll never, you're always connected to her, in that regard. So beautiful.
Yeah. And, the reality is, and what I'm learning over and over now is, in any given situation, no matter how potentially devastating it is, or how it feels in the moment. And again, like, I haven't been through everything, I don't know how I would feel having lost a child, having other tragedies. So I can only speak from my experience so far.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's always a way to make lemonade out of lemons. There's always a way, because there's lessons to learn, there's ways to inspire other people. And if that's the lemonade, then great. Like, give me the lemonade,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I think it helps other people, you know?
Yeah, I agree with you. And one thing that happens too in a situation like that, like you said, your life experience didn't teach you a lot about cancer and the difference between lymphoma and so similarly, like in the grief community, a lot of us become seekers. We want to know more, and we end up finding communities of people. So the grief community was something I was a therapist, but I really didn't know the wealth of resources in the grief community that I know now. So now I can offer that to other people. But it's what I relied on, was other people, seeing other people a little bit farther along on that journey and seeing that they were surviving. They were, in fact, in the beginning, for me anyway, I'd go to a grief group and I saw some parents actually laughing. They were further along on their journey. And I was like, oh my God, I don't think I'm going to stay here at all. Like, my son died. Like, you guys, it was so irritating. But later I realized that they were just being themselves, and it gave me hope that those dark, dark, dark times could actually lift, and someday I might be able to laugh again. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's through people. And those connections. So beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So now, let's talk about now. You're not out of the woods exactly. You're waiting in September to get your final result, right?
Yeah. So I've had immunotherapy treatments, and it's interesting because I didn't need, well, the doctor that I had, my lymphoma specialist, did not recommend chemotherapy. And for me, thank God he didn't, because, and I'm not saying this is not okay for other people, but
Right.
you have to jive with whatever treatment you're receiving. And that's something that I never felt comfortable with. I didn't feel comfortable with it for my mom. And I certainly wouldn't feel comfortable with it for myself. And again, not saying
Yeah.
not for others, but you have to really be okay. And so I did immunotherapy, but I also did a lot of stuff on my own. Some natural remedies, and my diet was always really clean, and I took it to another level of
Mm.
clean, and a lot of different things. So I just last week finished my last of 12 immunotherapy treatments, and then I go at the end of September for my next PET scan to see where I'm at. So,
Great. Of course, we're
God
all
willing, I'll be in remission.
yeah.
And remission is a funny word, because remission almost is like, well, you're in remission, meaning you're still not out of the woods, right? I don't think anyone ever is.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm looking at it as, okay, well, I still need to stay positive and take care of myself and keep moving forward,
Yeah. Yeah.
no matter
Well,
what.
one of the things that I saw that you're up to these days is that I understand that you and your husband, Glenn, have started these videos every day, and they're really upbeat. He kind of dances in on these Facebook things. You started that like at the beginning of COVID. Is that what?
Yeah, so it was probably a couple weeks into the lockdown
Yeah.
when pandemic began, and everybody was so in that dark, scary place. And we just thought, you know what, we got to put some light out there,
Yeah.
because there's too much fear and darkness. So we
Mm.
decided that we would do these short daily videos Monday through Friday, where we would come on and just share some light, some wisdom, something inspirational, something to make people see the glass half full as opposed to half empty, and just try to shed some light. And so
Beautiful.
we've been doing it ever since. And yes, my husband is quite goofy, and he does the daily dose dance to start, which, you know, it's corny. My kids think, oh my God, they roll their eyes. But hey, you know what? If it puts a smile on his face, I crack up. And then certainly a lot of people, I'm sure people think it's corny and they don't follow us, and that's okay. But it's just something, until we feel like this isn't good for other people, then we're going to keep doing it.
I love the spontaneity of it too, because it's not like you know, when you're in something and it's not quite, well, I don't know that life is like chapters are ever complete. Like, it's only in hindsight that we can see, oh, that was a chapter of my life, you know. But when we're in it, it's like it spills into the next chapter. So
Right.
it's not like it's, you know, easily contained to say that, you know, you're at this point and now, you know, going forward. But I love that you've got this transit. It's almost like a transitional, joyful little thing that you guys have created during this time, you know, during this time. So it's helping you, no doubt, you know, the two of you, and committing to it, and getting wacky, and then also to others, you know, helping others, which is something that you've clearly done your whole life. So I really respect you a great deal, and wish you, as I'm sure everyone that knows you wishes you well, and, you know, to get through this, get through, and, you know, have this be in that hindsight, you know, that chapter, if you will.
Thank
So
you.
I
Thank
want to
you.
let people know that if they want to get in touch with you, they can reach you at askdoctorina@gmail.com. And I'm going to put that along with a blurb about what this video is about on the YouTube channel.
Awesome. And they can certainly also reach me on Facebook as well. So I'm pretty active on Facebook. You know, we have our a lot of our team and a lot of our, you know, obviously our friends and so forth that I communicate through Facebook. So that would be great as well.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much for agreeing to do this. And it was wonderful discovering more about you and having a couple of conversations. So I really, really appreciate it. And best to
Thank
you.
you. Thank you so much, Basha.
You're welcome.